you might feel like you're on a little bit of road to hell at some point because of how challenging it can be. Today we're driving the second section of the Adventure Media Program bikepacking route, and today's really maybe my favorite part of the route, and it has a lot to do with a couple things. One, the day will most likely start out with that descent that we talked about in the last episode, going down to Glen Coe. And then whenever we get into Glen Coe, we hit the pavement for a little bit, and then we get onto a road called Devil's Canyon. And Devil's Canyon sounds really intimidating, and it kind of is. It's just this canyon that cuts across from the Glen Coe area, Coe Canyon area, over into Fort Stanton. And it starts out pretty mild. It's just a kind of a half gravel, half chip seal road, and then it'll turn into full gravel at some point. But Devil's Canyon includes probably what will seem like the biggest climb that we have, but it's also that thing that allows us to get from one particular ecosystem to another here in southern New Mexico, particularly in the northern reaches of the Sacramento Mountains. I love Devil's Canyon, mostly because it's a huge challenge. It will feel like the biggest climb that we have all ride for a lot of folks, and that's just because you can crank it out. Like, you don't have to stop necessarily to get off the bike and climb up, but some people will, and that's completely fine. But it is one of those that you can sustain. You can sit on the bike and just crank your way through the climb. Another thing I really like about this climb is that you're surrounded, like you're in a canyon. So Devil's Canyon is very aptly named. It's a little rough at times. It's got little patches of worn out pavement, but it's one of those things that whenever you get to the top, you get you a drink and you get a little snack, you feel pretty well accomplished. And one of the big things about Devil's Canyon is that once you're at the top, you're pretty much done climbing for the rest of the day before we hit camp later that afternoon. So this is the top of Devil's Canyon. It's pretty picturesque up here. Whenever you crest over the top, we get this little break area. We'll take a break, we'll eat a little snack, but once you get to the top, it's kind of like seeing Capitan Wilderness over in Coe Canyon again. It just kind of boosts your mood because you get to see out over kind of this kind of high desert-like type of environment across Fort Stanton, and again onto the Capitan Wilderness. So it's just this nice progression we've been making all the way since Ruidoso towards the Capitan Wilderness, towards Fort Stanton, and this is a really cool place to be. Once you get up here, you take a break, you get a good drink of water, and then it's just a quick descent down until we get into the Fort Stanton Snow River Cave National Monument. We just entered into the Fort Stanton Snowy River Cave National Conservation Area, and the roads out here can get a little rough. They are sometimes four-wheel drive only whenever you're back into some of the real backcountry roads, but it's a nice ride down to Cave Campground, which is typically where we would stay on our second night. One thing I really like about this area is that even though it's relatively popular and people do like to come out here to recreate, you do feel like you're all on your own. There's just something really neat and extremely immersive about this particular landscape. And of course, it's got gobs of history.
So one of the cool features of Fort Stanton Snowy River Cave National Conservation Area is the cave network, actually. And the cave network is underground and it's massive. But every now and then you get to kind of see a glimpse of why it's called Fort Stanton Snowy River Cave. You start seeing these glimpses of caves, cave-like structures, overhangs, that kind of thing. And it's a really cool feature along the route, and especially on the way to Cave Campground.
Once we top the hill outside of the campground, everything starts to change quite a bit. The visuals become a lot more plains-like, and we're much closer to the Capitan Wilderness now. And man, it just becomes something really, really